Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are having another great day today. And in today's video, we'll be making a simple yet super effective accordion component using React.js, Tailwind CSS for just some padding and some borders, as well as using a useState hook in React.js, also using conditional rendering. Just in case you're having some doubts still on how to use conditional rendering or useState hooks, this video will definitely help eliminate those doubts that you do have. So as you can see, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen something similar to this when it comes to accordion components, where the site is going to have the information and then it's going to have the description like hidden. And if you keep going, products, and then it shows it hidden as well as the other and then hidden. So when the user hits those arrows again or the icon, they magically disappear. And that's going to be used by using some conditional rendering, in which it'll help out in the long run as well. So guys, I can't wait to get started. Hope you guys are too, and let's get those coding fingers ready, and I'll see you soon. Welcome back everyone. So one of the first things that we're going to do here is, since we know we are going to be using React icons for our caret right and our caret down, let's just go ahead and use it as well and import it, or install it first in our terminal. So you can open up the terminal and just type in npm I for install, or you can type out install and then react-icons and then enter. So that'll take a few seconds here. Just let it load out a bit, and perfect. So it looks like everything went well, no issues. So we're ready to roll. So the second thing is, I'm just going to copy and paste it here. I already knew which ones I wanted to use, so I'll just use import and then brackets, or sorry, curly brackets, fa caret right, comma, fa caret down. Those are the two icons that we want to use from React icons dash fa. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do here is, we know that we are going to be using the useState hook, so let's go ahead and import that here. It's going to be very important, because if not, then you're just going to be getting a whole bunch of errors here asking for, hey, what happened to the import, right? So once we have that import, we should be ready to roll. So the first thing that we're going to do here is just going to be a simple one. That way we can get to the three types of informations for the accordion. So let's just make this one. We'll say is on, right? And then we're going to say set is on equals use state false. So the reason why we want to make this false as an initial state, think of it as you going inside of a room which has the light off. That's going to be an initial default state of off, because if you had it on, you'll just be at all the time. As an initial state, you'll be just incurring a whole bunch of electricity bill charges that it's just going to rack up at the end of the day. So we just want to try to avoid that, right? So that's why we're going to have this. So then once you turn on the light or hit the switch up, it goes from false to true, because now the light is on. And then once you turn off the light, it'll go back to false. So think of it as that as well. Use that same concept with the caret button, right? We're going to have a caret button, in which is going to be an initial state as kind of like leveled, not showing anything. And then once the user clicks on the caret button, it's going to change to down caret button, and then it's going to turn true. Then it's going to show the rest of the information. So let's just make this false back again, and then let's continue. So now the next thing that we're going to do is make the functionality of the caret button work, right? So let's just make this const, and then we're going to call this handle is on. Sorry, equals, and then just finish off the function just like this. Actually, sorry, let's not make this handle is on. Let's add toggle is on. It'll be easier to remember. So now that we have the toggle is on function, let's just use the logic here, or create the logic. So we're going to say toggle is on, set is on. So inside, what we want is, we want to use a previous state, and then the state which is on, so is on, and then with the arrow, not remember that the question, the exclamation mark means is not, or the opposite of this. So is not on. So previous is on. Okay, so what this is pretty much saying is this is false because it's the initial state, and then this is true. So anything that we're passing on here, once the function is working, we want it to be the opposite of false. So what's the opposite of false? It's true, right? So that's how you can think of it as well. Or if you want, you can do it also using true and false. Just keep it strict like that. But in this video, I just want to use a different type of logic just to show that there are different types of ways that we can add to the functionality of things. So we'll just go ahead and use previous state, or previous is on, which is here, and then not previous is on. Remember that the exclamation mark is the opposite. Awesome. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to make this go into the middle here. That way everyone could view that better. So we'll just H screen and then flex, justify center, and then items center. And now if you write anything here, you'll see that it comes out in the middle here. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to just make a UL, and then inside of the UL we'll make an LI, and this is where we can type anything, but for now we'll just use hi and then exclamation mark. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is we are going to use our icons at the top here. So let's get right to it. So what we're going to use here is called conditional rendering. So the way conditional rendering works is you have to use it inside of the curly brackets, and you're going to be telling it what to do. So for example, what we're going to say is we're going to use the is on, since that's what we want, right? Is on, and then question mark, and then quotations, colon, and then quotations again. So you can use it this way. So basically what this is saying is, once again, it's called conditional rendering. And what it's saying is if is on is true, then render everything that's here to the left side. But if is on is false, we want it to render everything here. And always remember that everything to the left side of the colon is true. That's how I like to remember things, especially when using conditional rendering. Everything to the left of the colon is true, and everything to the right is false. Okay, so since we are using the icons, it can be used as a component. You don't have to use the quotes here as well. So we can do is just take that out, and then we'll use the straight caret icons here. So if is on is true, we want it to show the the down here, because it's gonna be clicked on, and it should be showing the other information. So if is on is true, we want it to render the caret down. If is on is false, we want it to render the caret right, just like this. As you can see, it's appearing at a default state right. So the next thing we want to do is let's just add some, just level it here. So we'll just make it a flex, and then gap to item center. That way it could just be centered just like this. And let's add a cursor pointer also, just in case here. Okay, so everything's working perfectly. Awesome. So now, as you can see, we have everything pretty much set to go. The next thing that we want to do is make sure that we add our functionality, right, for the button or for the caret. So on the LI, what you can do is just use the onClick event, similar to how we did it in the previous video of the modal. We'll just add the toggle is on function, just like this. And now if you click it, you'll see it go down, just like this. All right, and that's happening just because we're using, not just because, but because we're using conditional rendering. And once again, if you're having trouble, just try to think about what it means. So if is on is true, everything to the left is true. We want it to render fa caret down. So that's what's happening here. Now it's true, and then now it's false. Now it's true. We want it to render the caret down. If it's false, remember, if it's false, this is a default state. Now it's rendering the caret right. Awesome. So now the next thing that we're going to do here is we are going to also use conditional rendering to render the information here that comes up when the toggle is on. So let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna do the same thing. If you got it right using the brackets, kudos to you. Kudos to you guys. So we'll say we'll use the brackets here, the curly brackets, and we'll say this time is on, and then you can make it anything you like. You can make it a paragraph, a span, whatever you seem fit. But I'm just gonna use a div for now, and then I'll just say hi. No, thank you for opening your accordion. And now it should appear. So now, as you can see, it's working. So we have the accordion here, default state, and then now it's on. So what this is doing here is, if is on is true, we want it to also render this here. So that's how we have it. Thank you for opening your accordion. So once again, we're using conditional rendering as well to render this part here. So what this is saying is, if is on is true, we also want it, or to add, we also want it to render this div with thank you for opening your accordion. So as you can see, it's perfectly working. Awesome. So now let's make it a little bigger. Let's add about 3 types of information here. That way you can see how it's used a little differently. So let's just go ahead and erase this and erase this here. Awesome. So the first thing that we're going to do here at the top, something similar to what we had before, is we are going to be using I just like to write it down, that way I don't forget. It was information, it was products, and then it was features that we were going to be using. So now let's go ahead and start making these the variables for them for the useState hook. So we'll just say const. Actually, just make it here. Const brackets show information, set show information equals useState, and then false, because remember we wanted to keep at a default of, or initial state of, false, right? So now we do the same thing for the products. Const show products, set show products equals useState, and then if you guessed it right, good job on that as well. So now const show features, set show features. So everything stays the same, so all 3 are the same here. Awesome. So now that we have all 3 here, we're going to make 3 separate functions, because they're going to each pertain to each one of these states here to show them. So the first one is going to be const toggle information, and then just finish off the function just like this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to say set show information, then parentheses, then inside of the parentheses we're going to use previous state as well, so it's previous show information, then the arrow here, and then not. Remember, exclamation mark is the opposite of this, right? So if this is the default, which is false, being the opposite, it's going to be true. So we want it to be true. So we want it to go from false to true. So we'll do the same thing, previous show information. And that's just like that, guys. So now we can just finish the other two there. So we'll do const toggle products equals, and then just finish off the function like this. Then we're going to say set show products, and then inside we're going to say of the parentheses, we're going to say previous or prev show products, and the arrow here, and then the opposite, exclamation mark, prev show products. And now we'll do the last one here, const toggle features function set show features. And now we're going to change the state from default false to true. Previous show features, and we're going to change it to the opposite, which is going to be previous show features. And that's it, guys. So now the same thing that we did as before, we're going to add a UL, and then inside of the UL we're going to make 3 LIs here. So the first one is going to be information, the second one is going to be products, and the third one is going to be features, like this. Awesome. So the next thing that we're going to be using is, if you guessed it right, again, kudos to you. It's not even guessing at this point, it's just knowing, like getting the practice in and knowing what to do next. So definitely kudos to you guys. The next thing is going to be using the caret right and caret down using the conditional rendering. So let's go for the first one, for the information. We'll use the conditional render to render which caret we want to use when clicked on and not clicked on, or at a default stage, at the default stage. So we'll use the conditional rendering. We open the brackets, the curly brackets, and inside we'll just say toggle, not toggle, sorry, show information, and then question mark, quotes, colon, and then quotes. Now, normally it's this way because if you're using divs or spans or whatever the case may be, or elements, it's going to be inside of the quotes. But since we're going to be using the icons, which is almost similar to rendering components, we're going to be using that. So we'll say if show information is true, we want it to render the FA down icon. So we'll just say FA down icon like this. And then anything to the right of it is going to be false. So if show information is true, we want FA caret down. If false, we want it to render to the right. And as you can see, we have it just like this. So now what we're going to do here is we are just going to add the same, just some styling here. That way we can just have everything leveled and items center like this. Awesome. Now what's left is just to use the toggle information function for our onClick event. So let's go ahead and add this now. Oh, not there, here. onClick, and then toggle information. So now it should work. As you can see, let's just add also our cursor pointer. Don't forget about that. So we have it here. So now, as you can see, it's working. This is our true state, and this is our false state. True and false. And that's how we had it over here. True state, we want it to be down. And then false state, we want it to be right or at the default state. And now what's left is just to show the information that you want to show, right? So the next thing is just right underneath the li, you can just make another conditional rendering with the curly brackets. And now we can just go ahead and finish off the information accordion. So we're going to say show information, and then we want to show a div. And we'll just say this is your information. So once you have your div here, what this is pretty much saying is if show information is true, right, because we're using the show information, we also want it to render this div, which is going to be right underneath it. So let's go take a look. We have it here, and now it's good. It's showing. And now let's just click it back, and it disappears. Awesome. So now if you can pause this video, and that way you can try to do the products and features by yourselves. And if you just want some help with it, I'll keep on going with the products and the features that are left here. So the next thing that we're going to do here is the products. So let's go ahead and do that here. Oh, but first let's just add some styling here before anything. Let's just add a border bottom, and then let's just add a padding of 2. That way everything's not so crunched up here. Perfect. Okay, actually padding margin top, sorry. Let's add a margin top here. Awesome. Okay. So now let's do the products here. So the same thing, the same rules apply to the products and the features here. So we'll just add this here. So we'll say the conditional rendering. We'll say show products, and then question mark, quotes, colon, and then quotes. But once again, since we're using the icons, they come out as components. So we'll just do those instead. So we'll say if show products is true, we want it to render the FA_down icon. And if it is false, if show products is false, we want it to render the right icon. And as you can see, it's here. So let's just copy this class here, and that way it could be leveled as well. Awesome. So now last thing that we have to do is just use conditional rendering again to render the information below. So right underneath it, you can also open the brackets, and inside say show products, and then show the div, and you can type in this is your products. I know it doesn't make sense, the sentence, but I didn't know what else to add in there. But yeah, so let's also just add, you can just copy and paste the class as well. That way everything stays consistent. And then lastly, if you want it to work as well, as you can see, it's not working. Let's just go ahead and add the onClick event here. So you can just add the onClick event. Click and then toggle products. So let's check it out. Click it, and it's working here. Awesome. And now the last one, if you're all set and good, let's go on to the features. So the same thing, let's just go ahead and add this. Actually, let's add the class afterwards. Here, actually, no, let's add it now. That way everything could be leveled. Okay, so we have the features, and then we'll add the conditional rendering for the icons. So we'll say show features, question mark, quotes, colon, and quotes again. So now you can just type everything out. Why is it showing up? Because nothing's there. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. If show features is true, we want it to render the F8 down icon like this. And once again, just remember everything to the left of the colon is true and everything to the right is false. So if show features is true, we want it to render the F8 caret down. And then if false, we want it to render the right. And I do know I might be sounding like a broken record. I do apologize, but the more practice you get in, I say it most likely I say it in every video. The more practice you get in, the more it becomes muscle memory, and that's what you want, just to have that muscle memory. That way, it just comes naturally to you. So the next thing that we have is let's add the onClick event here. That way we can just have it ready and onClick event. And then this one is going to be toggle toggle features. Okay. And as you can see, it's working, but it's not showing anything. That's because we don't have as we have over here, we haven't touched up on the conditional rendering to show the div here. Okay. So let's go ahead and finish that off. So the last thing that we're going to do here is use the conditional rendering to render it. So we're going to say show features and the div. And once again, what this means is if show features is true, we want it to render this, right? So let's just say I am your features like this. So as you can see, it's on the true state and it's down, caret is down, and it's showing the features. Pull it back up and it's gone. And if you wanted just to really quick look at the difference, so you can just add, remember the exclamation mark means the opposite. So we want it to be out of false state. So as you can see, it kind of messes it up a bit, but you're saying here, if show features is not true, then you want it to render here. So that's why you see the right icon is showing, because it should be on a not true state. But as you can see, it's still showing, and that's just because of this conditional rendering here. And then if you hit it, then it goes away. So kind of like the opposite happens, and the opposite happens because of this exclamation mark. So if you just take it away again, as you can see, everything's back to normal. Like that. And then let's just add some of these classes here as well, just to style it up a bit. Class name, I'll just write it out, border B and then MT2. As you can see, everything's working now. And that's pretty much it, guys. So I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. I know lately I've been doing a lot of more front end component type stuff, but because I'm looking to add it to my like reusable component library that I'm looking to make for myself, I definitely do recommend you guys to make it to that way. If you're making anything going forward, any website, you can just easily take the component and then your own component and use it yourself instead of having to add different libraries or different sites and use it on your website there. So guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Please give it a thumbs like if you enjoy the content, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I appreciate it, guys, and see you next time.